Thank you for watching this quick video on how to proctor an SAT. 10 steps to completion for the new proctor training. As we go through this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you'll be receiving on campus with regards to your materials, how to implement a full SAT administration, and how to box everything up for us to pick up. So by now, or shortly after this video, you'll be receiving your materials, either in one box or a few boxes. With that box that you'll have in hand, you'll find a couple of things in here. You'll find your SAT number 1 exams, your SAT essay number 1s, your scan forms, proctoring instructions, and in some cases you may find a student list, but that may be emailed to you at a later time, typically the day before the test for the most up-to-date information. We recommend that you go through your materials for a couple reasons. To make sure you have enough items prior to testing day, to make sure everything's in the box, and to sort anything out that you may need between specific teachers if you plan to administer the test in different rooms. I want to point out a couple things with regards to the actual SAT scan form. You'll notice here that the scan form looks similar to this, but I'm actually going to refer to it right here. We've updated our process for two reasons. Number one, you'll notice here that the student's name, date, exam, instructor, and institution. If your students signed up prior to the deadline, and typically the deadline is 4 business days before the actual test administration, you'll notice that your box includes scan forms that are pre-slugged, which means their name will be here, their test ID will already be filled out, their student ID that they provided to us when they enrolled online will be inputted here. Everything will be filled out for them. So it's important on test day when they check in, whether you put them in the room or into, say, a multi-purpose room, that they get that scan form with their name. Now don't worry if they did not sign up in time or after the actual deadline before the materials were shipped out. It's okay. We provided a good amount of blank scan forms, and this is what a blank scan form would look like. All they have to do is fill in their name, their date, exam. The exam test ID for test number 1 is obviously 1, and then their student ID up here. That's all they have to do. But I want to make note that every scan form is 2 pages. So you'll see here that they're going to obviously have a test ID on page 1, but they're going to be filling out 2 pages. There's 4 sections on the SAT, and page 2 is actually the 4th section. So just a little FYI on that. Now, your student ID list will be sent to the school on Friday. Now, we do that because students typically will enroll in the course all the way up until the morning of. So it's okay if a student shows up and says, hey, I didn't have the time to actually check in or sign up online. That's fine. Just have them take it. When a student comes in, the first thing you want to do is provide them with an SAT number 1. So what to fill in? Well, you can see here on the test they'll have their student name, which they'll put, their date, which is going to be the date of the test, and then their school name. It's important because when we provide back the actual test booklets later on through the course, the student can actually get back their test booklet that they participated in with the actual practice administration. Little note here, students are allowed to write in their test booklet. So it's theirs to write in. We'll just collect them at the end and provide them back during the course. So how do we get to your set your timer? So we used to provide actual hard timers in terms of tangible ones, but we had issues with batteries and such. So now what you'll notice here is we have an online timer built into our website. Go to horizontestprep.com, click on login at the top of the page, and you'll be prompted for a password the first time, which is prep, all lowercase, and you'll scroll down to the bottom. And let me show you how that looks. So I'm going to get to the actual page. It's going to look something like this. You'll notice there's a login button right here. You click on that, and it'll be prompted for a password, which is all lowercase prep. From there, you'll be prompted to a list of things that look like Prezi files, which we'll get to during the training. But you'll notice here there's a timer down here. It's important. It'll tell you a stopwatch or a countdown. You pretty much just have to look at. So if section 1 on the SAT is 65 minutes, you You put in 65 minutes, set, and you start it. Now, a lot of teachers or proctors will sometimes like to put this on their screen, on their whiteboard. It could be something you could use on your iPad to have on your own. It's really at your discretion. It's just a timer that's available for you. If you do not have access to an internet at your school site, it's okay to utilize your cell phone as the proctor as a last resort, just to kind of have that with you. So the rules. If a student arrives late, so let's say a student, section 1 is 65 minutes and they arrive 10 minutes late. It's okay to actually pass out their test booklet and have them start right away. You can actually use the breaks to actually fill in their name and all that fun stuff. But it's okay if they arrive late. The only issue is if they arrive 10 minutes late, they don't get an extra 10 minutes in that section. So if they are 10 minutes late to a 65-minute reading section in the beginning, they actually only have 55 minutes left to complete all of the questions within that section. If a student has to use the restroom during the test, it's okay. Students are free to get up and use the restroom at any time during the test, but when they return, they will only have the remaining time to complete their section, so they don't get extra time as well. So what happens if a student has to leave early? Well, two things. We want to make sure they complete the multiple choice section because that is as we call it, the meat and potatoes of the entire exam. That's how we get their total scaled score. We want to make sure they obviously complete the essay, which is the optional they call it, which is in our course it's mandatory, but the essay at the end of the exam. But if they have to leave early, let's say halfway through the multiple choice, we advise them to take their test home and complete it and bring it back on Monday and provide it to the actual proctor to make sure that they can actually get credit for that, because the idea is to make sure they complete the entire thing, including the essay. Even if they consider the essay as optional, we recommend that they take the actual essay. So after the exam, before the essay, so you'll notice that the SAT is 4 sections. Section 1 is reading, Section 2 is writing, Section 3 and 4 are math sections. Then obviously it breaks off from there, and then the essay is provided in a separate packet at the end. So after the students complete the multiple choice portion of the SAT, please collect all of the booklets and collect all the 2-page scan forms. Now keep the pages in collated order, which means page 1 and 2 keep together. Don't separate all the 1s, don't separate all the 2s, just keep 1 and 2 together. And then from there, you want to, while the students are taking their essays, which you'll pass out their essays, which is we consider section 5, which really is just more the essay at the end. You'll provide them with their essays and you'll have them start. And they'll have 50 minutes, which the proctoring instructions state. 50 minutes to actually complete that essay. During those 50 minutes, you're going to want to alphabetize. You don't have to do it by student ID because the student IDs are all over the board, but just by alpha, you'll want to actually go through and alphabetize these. It's important because when we grade the essays, if it's easier to actually grade the essay or score the essays and provide them with an actual score on their score report if everything's in alphabetical order. So you'll collect the SAT booklets and the scan forms. Step 8, the essay, which we talked about. You'll be passing out the essay. It looks just like this. It'll be passing out. And during the 50-minute essay, as we talked about, you'll be alphabetizing your SAT 1 booklets and your scan forms. So the SAT 1 booklets with their names on it, you alphabetize those. Alphabetize the scan forms. And then last but not least, when you get the essays back, you'll alphabetize the essays themselves as well. Don't worry, you don't have to grade the essays. We have graders on staff that will help you with that. So 2 more steps, or 2 additional steps, and then we are complete. Time to pack up. The real takeaway is the box everything came in, put it right back in there. We want to put the heavy stuff at the bottom, so place any unused or used, place basically all of the unused materials on the bottom at the bottom of the box, which is if you had extra tests, extra scan forms, anything that is necessary to return back to us. Number 2, place the SAT exam number 1 booklets at the top of any used exams. One thing I want to point out here are 2 things. Do not staple your scan forms together. And once you put all the unused material at the bottom, just put all of your things layered. Your tests that are completed, your essays that are completed, and your scan forms that are completed. And that's all you have to do with regards to that. Since there are no timers and pencils, don't worry about that when it comes to this. And then last but not least, time to pack up. If you are a drop-off school, we will pick up your materials following the following Monday or Tuesday. Please check your proctoring instructions, your hard copy proctoring instructions for more information on that. And if you are a UPS school, which your proctor instructions will state, UPS will be by to at the designated time to pick up your box. So we'll be for SAT number one. We require everything be shipped back to us, all the exams, the essays, unused, used, the scan forms that are used, unused. So everything that was delivered to you will be picked up from you, or it will be shipped back from UPS. So that's pretty much everything that has to do with proctoring your own SAT. If you have any questions at all during the practice test date, please feel free to call us at 1-800-763-5780, or we have people on staff that day. You can email us at info@horizontestprep.com, and we'll gladly return your email within 5 minutes, because we are on staff during the actual testing date, because it is a pretty popular date with with a lot of schools testing. So best of luck. Please feel free to refer back to this video if you need any more information, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you.